Hello and welcome to another skill of the week for throwing your first pot on the wheel. We're going to be making just a cylinder form, so something that's basic and simple, but you need to know some essentials before you start throwing on the wheel. You're going to need to make sure if you have long sleeves that you push them way up. You're going to want to get yourself an apron, cover up with that. I do have a pair of jeans that can strap onto you so that you can keep your pant legs free from clay, because I guarantee it's going to want to fly all over the place. Also, you will not want to have your cell phone or computer or anything like that nearby, because you just never know when the clay or water might splatter onto your project or onto your device. Also, no rings, bracelets, watches. Long fingernails are really not good for throwing on the wheel. It's difficult to throw with long fingernails because you tend to poke right through your pot. You will also need to have a plastic bat. These will be either right back behind me or up on the shelf beside the wheel. This will be placed on the wheel head, and I'll show you how to do that. You'll also need to have a large bucket of water. I like to use warm water because there's nothing worse than having freezing cold hands while you're trying to throw on the wheel. You also want to have a freshly wedged, soft ball of clay that's been made into a dome. Okay, it's easier to set down on your bat, and you'll have an easier time centering it that way. If you try to center a hard piece of clay that has not been wedged properly, you're just going to have all kinds of trouble. So I will show you how to wedge properly during class, because I don't have time to make a video for that. You'll also want to have a ceramic sponge, a needle tool, and these are possible tools you could need, but not necessarily. Okay, you might want to have a rubber rib. It's just a flexible rib to be able to take off clay, mold it the way you want. You may need a cleaning tool. It's totally up to you. And another kind of wooden tool to clean up the base. And you'll see how I use these while I do the demonstration. Okay, so basically on the wheel, I'm going to show you a couple of things on the wheel. Okay, there are some buttons here. This button is the on-off button. Sorry, there we go. On-off, or on is here with the light on. This switch right here, when you have it in the forward position, it turns the wheel for a right-handed person. If you're a left-handed person, you want to switch it all the way back to the back. I'm right-handed, so I throw it that way. Now, it is possible for a left-handed person to throw with a right-handed wheel. Addie Samuelson did it last year. She did just fine. Okay, this is your, if I can get it in the screen here, this is your foot pedal. Okay, it's going to need to be in the upright position when it's off, and then you'll be pushing down on it when you want it to go. Sorry about that. Okay, you also need to have a bucket underneath to catch any water and slip that's going to be coming down. Okay, all that noise was because I didn't have the bat attached, and so when I hit the wheel, it went flying. Okay, so I'm going to show you all these things that you'll need to do now. Okay, hopefully we have all of this in the view. And actually move that a little bit. Okay, these are the areas that you need to attach. Okay, it has the three little nubs on the side. Okay, so I'm going to put that down on the nub. And you really want to make sure that these are nice and snug and tight and it's not moving around at all. Okay, now I might have just messed up my clay for attaching it because I got it wet a little bit. You don't want it too wet because it'll want to slide right off the wheel. So I'm going to kind of take that dampness off and make sure that the wheel's not too wet, because I want it to stick down pretty good. Okay, so you want this pretty much in the center. So what I like to do is plop it down there and kind of see that I can get it towards the center. And then get my foot pedal close to me so I can work it. Now once you push down on this foot pedal, you can take your foot off because you don't need to be messing with the foot pedal. It actually stays in the position that you want. So I could go like this get it moving, and then I could completely move away from the wheel and it'll still stay at that speed. Okay, and by the way, this is set up to be about the same height as the wheel head, and that's what you want when you're throwing. Okay, so get my smock out of the way here. Now, just to make sure it's attached to the wheel, I like to push my finger down against the bottom to really make sure it's stuck tight. Okay, you don't want it flying off of the wheel. Okay, the object of this is to have slick hands when you are centering and when you're pulling. If you have sticky hands, you could throw it off balance, it could go off center, and you really need a centered ball of clay. You can tell right now it's not centered because see how it kind of wobbles around. When you're centering, you want it to go fast. Okay, you want to have good speed on there. It's much easier to center a ball of clay that's going fast. Okay, you want to have plenty of water on your hands, and you want to put force down on top of that ball of clay. I'm pulling from the side as I'm pushing from the top. Notice that my hands are locked together and they're kind of looking like this. Okay, so pushing down and pulling towards the center. If I feel that clay start to get sticky at all, I grab some more water. Okay, now you can either pull it towards you or you can push it from back here. Like I usually use this part of my hand and I get it up against there. Make sure a hand is on top. I lock my hands together and I lock it against my body and I push. Okay, you can push. Whichever works best for you. Really, there's no set rule on how to center. You just need to make sure that it is centered. You don't want to be pulling a ball of clay that is flopping all over the place. Okay, so when I put my hands on there, I can feel that the clay's not flopping around too much. I'm going to take this off because that's kind of distracting. I want to make sure that I can see what's happening here. Okay, in the video, I don't know if you can see it, but my hands are wiggling just slightly. So I'm going to try to center it a little bit more. And I'm just using leverage. You don't want your arms out here. You want them locked against your body, real tight in here. Now, some people center really fast. Other people, it takes them a little bit of time, but it's really worth the effort to get it centered properly. Okay, you can tell I got it kind of off a little bit there, so I had to push it back into place. And you always want to use slow, gentle movements when you are pulling your hands away from the wheel, away from the ball of clay. If I am trying to center and I go and just jerk my hands away, notice what that did? It just threw that ball of clay all off kilter. So you want to use slow movements when you take your hands away from your project. So now I got to try and recenter that. Just slow movements. Okay. I want to have a flat top to work with. Okay, it's a little bit off, so I'm going to try and get it a little bit more centered. And that's better. Okay. Now, you can see that the splatter is getting clear up my arms. So really, short sleeve shirts are better, but long sleeve shirt, you can just pull up your sleeves. Okay, so now I'm gonna take down the speed a little bit. Okay, because now I want to punch a hole down in the center, and really you need to kind of gently lay your fingers on the sides, put your thumbs together and point towards the center. You don't want to go over center. Over center, you will throw it off center, because you can have a totally centered piece of clay and then throw the whole off center. Okay, so gentle movements. Now, it gets sticky really fast here. I tend to have really dry hands, so I like to have plenty of water on there. Push that down, give enough force to it, but again, slow movements. When you're pulling away, gentle, slow movements so that you don't throw it off. Now you notice I switched fingers because I tend to have a little bit more control with my first fingers than with my thumbs. Okay, and that's a personal preference of mine. You can do it however it works for you. Okay, now, once you get it to where you think is about a quarter inch from the bottom, you can shut off the wheel. Now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to shut off the foot feed. I'm actually going to shut the power off, because that way when I put it back on again, I still have it at the same speed as what I had it before, which is the speed that I want. You take the needle tool, you push it down in the center of the pot. Notice I have a big enough opening that I can put my finger down on the needle tool against the base of the pot and pull it up. Now, if you can see, that's a little too thick. It's about a ½ inch. Okay, so I got to go down a little bit more. And I'm going to turn that back on, get my hands wet again, and I'm just going to gently push down a little bit more. Okay, pull my fingers away, shut the wheel off, stab it down into the center, touch my finger to the base of the pot. Okay, so now it's about where I want it, about a ½ inch. Okay, turn that back on. I'm going to push that hole back in because I did poke a hole in it. Now we get to open up the opening. Okay, and many people do it in different ways. Okay, you can do it where you pull your thumbs out. You can do it where you pull it towards you. If you pull out, you need to make sure that you lock your arms into your waist or right in the crook of your legs so that you have something to brace them on. Okay, you want to have your thumbs down at the bottom of the pot. I'm going to kind of take the water off of here so you can see where I am. Okay, right here at the very bottom. And you're going to spread your thumbs straight out so you have a flat bottom. Okay, so straight out. Again, you don't want friction, so if it gets dry, you need to get your thumbs moistened back up again. Okay, gentle movements. Now, I want to smooth that floor in a little bit so I have a nice flat floor, and I'm just pulling that towards me. And you want to pull your floor out to about the width that you want your pot. Okay, I can feel a little air bubble. So as soon as you feel an air bubble, and you can actually see it right there, you want to poke that out. You don't want any air bubbles in your pot. And you can really feel it when you are throwing. Okay, so I'm going to smooth that back in. Get that air bubble poked out of there. Okay, now what I like to do is put my finger right up against the edge and put my thumb against the outside edge and kind of clean up that edge so I have a nice clean bottom. Okay, so that should be pretty flat all the way across. I'm still feeling just a little bit of an air bubble there. So before I get to throwing too much, I'm going to make sure I get that popped. Okay. I'm just keeping it clean so it's easier for you to see. Okay, let me see if I can see that air bubble. I think it is... now I can't feel it. So I'll probably feel it when I'm actually pulling the pot up, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, so again, I'm constantly keeping my hands wet, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do kind of a pinch, like this, okay? And I'm going to, on my left hand, put it up against the base of the pot, okay? I'm down here, but I'm about at the 5 o'clock position, okay? And my other hand gets locked into it. I'm holding this hand holding my left hand with my right hand, and I'm tucking my fingers right up underneath my thumb. and I'm going to push towards the center as I pull up. I'm exerting pressure, but not so much that I'm going to jam my fingers right through my pot. Okay, so I'm not really pulling the pot up. I'm actually just exerting enough pressure on the inside and the outside to make it, it has to go somewhere. Okay, so it's going to move up because I'm not allowing it to go anywhere else. So you can see the reason why I want it to go push in is because centrifugal force is going to naturally throw that pot outside. And I don't want it to go flatten out and be a plate, okay? So I need to grab down underneath here again, and I've got my fingers like this, and I'm going to have my fingers at the bottom with my thumb, 4 o'clock position or so, and I'm going to go with equal pressure, pushing towards the inside, and gently pull away. And every time I get to the top, I have to compress it. So I'm taking my fingers and I'm pinching, and I'm using my other finger and I'm pushing down. Okay, that compresses the clay. Okay, now it's still thick at the bottom, so I'm going to grab some more of that clay at the bottom. And I'm going to pull it up. Okay, compress. Now, it's flaring a little bit, so if you get a little bit of a flare at the top, you can just collar it back in. Okay, it's kind of like, I want to choke you, you know, and you just get your fingers in here like this. Okay, and then I compress that top. Okay, now, I think I can do another pull. Now, this one is going to be a little bit trickier because I'm going to see if I can adjust the screen here. I want you to see what my arm is doing. Okay, so I have to pull my arm away from my body to do this kind of a pull because it's starting to get really tall. If you can see, it's about up to here now. So getting my hand all the way down in there can be tricky. So I'm going to have my arm up like this, but I'm going to lock it in with my other hand. Now, some people grab a hold and just use the side of their finger to pull up. Okay, gently and slowly, pull away, and then compress the top. Okay, I'm going to collar that in just a little. Okay, nice gentle movements, nothing super fast and jerking or anything like that. And then I'm going to clean up the slip in the bottom. I don't want any puddles in there because that'll make it crack. Okay, and this is where you can start cleaning it up to get it off the wheel. Now, we're not going to take it off the wheel right away because we want it to dry. But this is where I like to use my wooden rib of some sort. Okay, and I clean that bottom up so that it's easy to have a nice cylinder. Okay. Now it's kind of trimming it, okay? And this excess stuff will go into our recycle bucket. Okay. And then you can work this all the way up for a really beautiful, smooth surface. Really gentle movements, nothing that is crazy or anything like that. Now, I'm doing this at the top too to just clean it up a little bit. Nice thing about throwing on the wheel is you don't have to do any sanding of your pot. It already comes out really smooth. All you have to do is clean your edges at the bottom, and then it's really beautiful. Okay, I'm going to take my sponge and clean this bottom. Okay, looks like I got a chunk of clay that's stuck because my rib was a little bit... It had a little bit of clay on it, so I'm going to clean that off. There we go, we got it. And you can feel that when you're cleaning it. Okay. Now, a nice cylinder like this can be made into a mug or anything like that. So if you're feeling like you made a really beautiful cylinder and you want it to be a big mug or something like that, you can attach a handle to it or anything like that. Now, once you get this cylinder form, that's your first pot. Your second pot is any kind of form that you want. But you have to know how to make the cylinder before you make anything else, because everything stems from the cylinder. Once you make your cylinder, then I'm going to show you how you can make it into any shape that you want. Okay, so I'm going to start making another shape. I'm going to do what's called bellying it out, where I'm going to push more on the inside than I am on the outside. And I'm going to have my inside hand higher than my outside hand. Before, I was moving them up at the same pace in the same place. Okay, now I'm going to belly it out, like I'm pushing on that belly. See how it's sticking out? Okay, gentle movements. Then I'm going to collar it in. Okay, and there I have a vase. Okay, so you can change it however you need to. I can also grab it on the inside and belly it more and create a different kind of vase. Okay, I'm bellying it. Ooh, that top's getting floppy. Sometimes when it gets really floppy, I might need to slow it down a little bit, or I'm getting too much water on there and the clay is actually getting tired. That just means it's getting really saturated and it's saying, hey, I don't know if I can hold up to all this pressure anymore because you've put a lot of water in me. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just collaring it clear in to create a different type of pot. See how it's kind of more rounded? Okay, and it just creates a completely different look. Okay, I'm going to clean the top up. You can also flare it out by pulling. Okay, totally different kind of look there. Okay, oops. When you bump it, you just got to get right back to it and clean it up. Okay, so I think that's about all I can do with this for now because the clay is getting tired and it's getting really saturated with water. So I'm just going to clean it up, get it ready to take off of the wheel. Smooth this all out. I don't want a puddle in there. So I'm just squeezing my sponge out, gently wiping the bottom, coming up the side a little bit. I'm not putting too much pressure on it. I'm just letting the sponge soak up the water. Okay. Now the neat thing about the wheel is it's constantly turning. So you don't have to move your hands around with the wheel. You keep your hands in one position and let the wheel do the work. Okay, so I'm just cleaning up this base so that it has a nice edge to it. And it's done. Okay, so I'm going to push the foot feed down and then gently take this off the wheel. Okay, so there's what the finished product looks like from the side. And then I'm going to put it up on the shelf beside the computer that I have on there right now, and you can see this is the basic wheel head. Okay, so all this clay that came off of it, and anything that's available, like if I have any in the bucket, okay, there are no big chunks in the bucket. I can just let that settle. But this will go into the recycle tub underneath the wheel. Okay, the bucket, on the other hand, I'm going to wipe that off so I don't have that running down the sink. Okay, and any stuff that's on the sides, I want to make sure that's inside the bucket, and that's just going to go and sit in the sink. You do not want to pour that down the sink, ever, ever, ever. It will clog the sink terrible. I will let it settle, and then I will skim the clean water off the top and take all the slip from the bottom and add it to the bucket, the recycle bucket, okay? But your job is to take all of these tools and clean them up. Any of the slip that's in here, you take just the ceramic sponge and you push that into the hole at the back of the wheel. And all that goes into the recycle bucket, and we will recycle that into usable clay again. But you have to clean up the wheel in a way that it is usable to the next person. If it's got a bunch of dry clay all over it, it really makes it unusable for the next person, and they should never have to clean up after you. So make sure that you clean everything up. Once you get all the slip into the hole as much as you possibly can, then you can take a regular cleaning sponge and clean the whole thing up. Run lots and lots of water while you're doing this in the sink, because we want that to wash down to the sewer and not stick in the pipes. So you just need to be running lots and lots of water. I like to use hot water to do that because it tends to keep that clay from hardening a lot longer, and then you can get it down. But don't overdo it. I mean, make sure that you get as much of this slip down into the hole as you possibly can, because we really don't want to be running any slip down in the pipes. Okay, so I'll finish cleaning all that up, and you'll be able to see when you come in and it's your turn on the wheel that we have a clean wheel. Okay, and then you want to make sure that the foot feed is all the way stopped for the next person, and then shut the switch off. Okay, so that there's no power going to it. We don't want somebody to accidentally hit that foot feed and have something on the wheel and go flying off. Okay, so that is your basic tutorial of throwing on the wheel, and we will make the schedule, and I will work with you on your cylinder pot so that you can understand one-on-one how to throw the pot, and then you will work on your second one after the rotation on how to throw whatever you want. Thank you.